I feel like it's the natural progression of work to get into this kind of podcasting work because social media is great. Social media connects us, but when we try to talk about issues and when we try to shine a light on people who are making stuff happen, we need to go a little bit deeper, and that's what we're doing here. I mean, it's been such an amazing, we've only been at it for a year. Can you believe it? It's been a little bit over a year.
And you're right. Like, I think this has been such a journey, and social media is great. I'm a social media strategist. I'm involved with social media, every day of my life. You know what I mean? In so many different, organizations. But it could only get you so far, and to do the work of a community.
Welcome to another episode of Uptown Voices, where you'll meet the unsung heroes transforming Washington Heights, Inwood, Harlem, and the South Bronx. I'm Octavio Blanco, a veteran journalist. My co-host, Led Black, is the voice of Uptown. This is Uptown Voices.
What up, everyone? Happy Sunday. Welcome to another edition of Uptown Voices, Black and Blanco. My brother, Octavio, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm feeling like a human finally. I've been sick this week, brother. I have been sick. I've had a flu. I've had a flu, and I won't tell you what else, but today is like the first day that I'm feeling better, so I'm looking forward to getting outside a little bit, breathing some of that fresh air after the rains.
I don't know how fresh it is, but yeah.
It's got to be fresher than it was earlier in the week when we're out there in the smoke.
That's true.
That was crazy.
It sucks to be sick in the summer too, and it's funny because I had like the opposite week. I was outside, man. I got to go to the Jay-Z concert on Sunday out of the blue. First of all, before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Go to the Uptown Collective YouTube channel. Show us some love. Tell your people about it. We have some things we're gonna tell you about the podcast that are, we're an emerging podcast. We're doing our thing, but so like, let me just tell you about the Jay-Z thing. It came out the blue. First of all, you know what I mean? Like, I was like everyone else thinking about like when I first heard, because that weekend, if you're a Jay-Z fan and you didn't have tickets, it was like the worst weekend of your life, right? Because you're going on social media and all you're seeing is everyone, Beyonce, Nas, Eminem. Like, so you're like, yo, this is like, you had such intense FOMO, like, damn. So I was mad for not being there myself, and I'm like, whatever. I didn't even know that they had added an extra concert. So basically, this is the first concert on Friday night was his first album, Reasonable Doubt. It's a 30-year anniversary. So he had the people that were on that album. So that's why Beyonce came out singing Mary J part. Nas was there. He had like a whole host of amazing acts. The next day, Saturday, was for the Blueprint, right? And that was a 25-year anniversary. So then he had Eminem, and he had who else he had on that? He had Slick Rick come out, right? So the extra innings. I didn't even know there was an extra innings concert, and it was kind of like a mixture of just all his hits, and it was added afterwards. So I get a text from Deborah Lee Santos of Manhattan Times. She texts me early. Hey, by the way, do you want to go to the Jay-Z concert? I want you to cover it. Cool, but I didn't know if it was gonna happen or not, so I just kind of forgot about it. My wife was like, yo, check up on it. Like, that's Jay-Z. It's like, so I did check up on it. She let me holler back. At 6:45, I get a text, Led, look out for the email. I got you a ticket. So sure enough, I get the Ticketmaster ticket. I got the connect, but what's crazy is now it's almost 7. The show starts at 8. I'm uptown in the Heights. So basically I just got so I thought in theory. So then basically I run out of here. I catch I'm not driving over there because that'd be a just horrible idea. So I took the train.
That would be dumb.
You know what I'm saying? I took the A to the D. I got there super quick.
On this day in history, Led Black took the subway.
For real. I don't like that. There was too much years of taking the subway. I hate taking the fucking subway. But so then I get there. It was very unorganized, unlike a Yankee game. Like, how you have to go through like the snaking barricades with a Yankee game. Here you have to do the same thing, but there was not enough people guarding it. So basically, people would just like unhook the railings and cut through. And when they cut through, it was like 30 people cutting through. So I was at the very beginning there. So when I get to the gates, because I was going through gate 6, it was the beginning of it starting. All the gates were closed by the time I got to my gate. They wasn't letting anyone in. So I was like, oh shit. But like again, everyone's focused on their own little gate, and I'm looking around. So I had the wherewithal to say, I saw someone over there. So let me holler at this guy. I said, I showed him, look, man, this is my ticket. Can I just go to the other side of this railing and go right there? And he let me in. So I was in. So 8:15, I'm in. You know what I mean? I get to my seat. I'm thanking God for like just hooking me up with these tickets I didn't expect. And when I get there, D Nice is doing the set, killing it. Just D Nice, right, in the Bronx, Yankee Stadium. Like, what else could you ask for? Amazing show thus far. And then, again, I don't know what's happening outside. I'm just in here. I'm just enjoying my time. I've had a few beers at $20 a pop. But again, I didn't pay for the ticket. So, these tickets just landed on my lap. So I'm like, let me spend some money.
I mean,
I bought this T-shirt.
You could have made money with that ticket.
I could have. This T-shirt was $60 and the beers was $20 a piece. And then I got some chicken fingers. That shit was like $120. So I paid like about $130, $100 for this. But anyway, so then as I'm just there, I'm just enjoying myself, but nothing is happening. After D Nice ended his set, there's nothing happened. So I'm getting texts from the wife, from the brother-in-law, hey, what's going on? I was like, yo, nothing's going on. Ain't nothing happened. And the show didn't start to 12:18. Now that's 4 hours since I've been there, right? But apparently, so it's funny. So I did a live. So if you go to the Uptown Collective IG feed, you can see the live that I did. And it's interesting because I just did the live just to get on, just to show people what's happening because nothing was happening. And it might have been like 20 minutes before anything happening. All you saw like band members, kind of coming on stage for the band, but you didn't see any movement. So I just turned on the live and immediately like 50, 60 people got on. And it was interesting. It was a beautiful moment in a sense because like, most of those people stayed on until my battery died, on my phone. And they were like, hey, how's your hand? Is your hand cramping? It was like a nice moment because everyone kind of wanted to watch it and they got to watch it through my phone. You know what I mean? And it was, again, it was 4 hours late, but I was just thankful to be in the building, irrespective of the Target stuff, irrespective of the Kaepernick stuff, Jay-Z, that music is part of my life. Like, like it's 30 years. And when I first heard Jay-Z, I'm not gonna lie, the first time I heard Jay-Z on Jazz O's record, Hawaiian Sophie, I was not impressed. I was like, whatever. But then when I heard In My Lifetime, with the Nas sample, and when I heard Reasonable Doubt, I was sold from the very beginning. So what I'm trying to say is like Jay-Z has such a it's just such a long discography that just it's like 30 plus years of great music. And, he stood on that stage. He definitely had tons of guests on that last night. I was super fortunate. Beyonce, Rihanna came out, JD, Fat Joe, Jadakiss. It was just like a who's who. But even when he didn't have any, Usher came out. Like it was like a fucking amazing night. But again, you just see the professionalism, the way he killed it, the way he, this is decades of music going back and forth, doing, not the straight version here, doing the remixes. Like it was just an incredible night. Super thankful, you know what I mean? So even though you were in the way of getting sick, I'm sorry. I had a great week. And then on Thursday, I saw Jill Scott with my wife and my oldest in Brooklyn, the King's Theater on Flatbush. And that was another great performance. Does not compare, of course, to the Jay-Z because that was a historic night. So I bookended the week with like amazing performances. So I had to share that part of it.
Yeah, man, you've had a great week. You've been out there, you've been outside, and you're a part of history with Jay-Z. I mean, that's
out of the blue too.
That came out of the blue. So
Can I say something too? And it's funny.
Of course.
I was telling my little one, I was driving her to work in the morning, and I said, listen, don't take this wrong, but Leo season is already, I could feel it. You know what I mean? I told us like, I could feel Leo seasoning. I just feel it. You know what I mean? Like August 13th, my birthday, I could just feel it already. So I just feel like I feel like more power. I feel like I could levitate. So I was telling her all that shit in the morning, like just before she go to work, just get a healthy helping of me talking crap. And then later on the day, I got the tickets. So as I was going to take the train and she coming from work, I said, look, little girl, I told you what was happening, and look where I'm going now. You know what I mean? But seriously, I feel super fortunate to like those tickets came out of the blue. Like I was not thinking. I was kind of just sad, like every other Jay-Z fan, that I wasn't going to be there. And there I was. I was like, it was a great night, even though there was apparently like they stopped people from going in. They stopped the lines outside again because it was such a shit show, in my opinion, in Yankee Stadium's fault. But I don't know specifically. But again, even though it was away, it was a tremendous night.
I mean, it sounds like it. And, like Jay-Z, like you alluded to a couple little controversies there, and those are important things to keep in mind. Jay-Z is 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 not just part of the culture, he's a culture maker, he's a leader in the culture. So, hopefully, the issues with Kaepernick and Target, and those are real issues that leaders need to be aware of. But that doesn't necessarily take away from what he's done, where he's come from, what he's created. Don't forget,
Facts.
like he's a guy who you could say came from nothing and made a multi-billion-dollar company, and also is a is somebody who's just like a leader in the culture. And like we've said, this culture, he's not from Uptown, but he's part of that hip hop culture, that street culture, that culture that we love. It's the culture that excites the world, and
Yeah,
it's the
and
culture.
and because but still, like again, I was really conflicted, right? Like because the Target shit seemed wrong, when the culture was boycotting Target, and then you get involved. I hated that. The whole Kaepernick thing was, and the way he kind of sided with the NFL, kind of hate all that. There's pictures of him with Harvey Weinstein. I hate all that. But I just can't deny, like it's just, again, this is like so much of my life is Jay-Z and his music has been a part of it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and again, let me just tell you, look, I got he had Rihanna, The Clips, Beyonce, Pharrell, Jeezy, Jadakiss, Usher, Fat Joe, Swiss Beats, Tiana Taylor, Jermaine Dupri, and The Dream on that Sunday show. You know what I mean? So that shit was a historic night. Just had to underscore how historic. But yeah, like it was, like you said, like he is such a force. And again, a lot of times when he was on that stage alone, he handled his. He didn't sound like he sounded just like the song, right? Like there was a professionalism there that that it's like kind of lacking from some of these newer artists. So it was great. Like like people say he ain't relevant. Like he murdered that shit. Yankee Stadium, 3 sold out, shows. Some people argue about it wasn't sold out,
But
but
who's saying he's not relevant? I mean, that guy is going to be relevant until the day he dies. I mean, he's he's relevant forever. I mean, that guy. I mean, even if he can't, if he loses his voice and can't get up on stage and rhyme, he's going to stay relevant.
I saw social media. Everyone got the stupid opinion sometimes.
Well, that's for sure. Yo,
But let's
speaking
talk
of
about that.
speaking about social media, I want to just send some shout outs to the people that are watching on Uptown Voices. So the real EV420 is on. The
What up? What up?
real Bodie Beauty NYC joined. Curly Teach, what's up? She's like always in the comments, and we love to
Yeah,
hear from you,
that's my
Curly.
sister right there. Yeah.
Okay. Cito Nation, young Cito from Dykeman, what's up? Eileen, your other half,
I know her.
tu media naranja, you know who she is.
Yeah.
And Josh Chapdelaine. You don't know Josh Led, but Josh is a friend. He's been helping me behind the scenes with the podcast.
Nice.
He's been very, very, very helpful, and really he teaches podcasting at Queens College. So he's a very, very well regarded person, and somebody who, I just happened to meet. Guess how I met Josh? Through my son Dante, because his wife is Dante's teacher, and
That's amazing.
just life, connected us. And so, Josh, I want to just, thank you for everything, and thank you to the audience that's here with us. I want to. Without you guys, it's just me and Led talking.
Yeah. Yeah. So who you got in this World Cup, brother? I feel like I'm gonna go for the colonizer of Spain. Well, I don't know. What do you?
Yeah, me too. I'm going for Spain. I'm going for Spain. I think that Spain, they may have been a colonizer in the past, and they may have done, horrible things in the Americas in the past. But I feel like in the present, Spain is one of those countries that's really standing up to the regime of Donald Trump. That's really standing up for what's right. No country is perfect. No government is perfect. So I'm sure that there's a lot of people who will, can say plenty of negative things about Spain even today. But I do love the way that Spain has been standing up to the regime of Donald Trump. And
Yeah, I
so
agree.
for that reason, I'm going for Spain. I think Argentina. And let me just say this. I never think that I will never believe that like a whole population is the that the people are the government. I think the people are the people and the government is the government, and the two things are separate. So I'm sure there are plenty of, amazing Argentinians. I know lots of amazing Argentinians that are not the what we've seen on the World Cup. But Argentina, their government, Milei, all these people that are completely like autocratic and right wing and dictatorial. I just can't get down with that. So for those reasons, Spain is my team. It's political. Everything is
Yeah.
political.
Yeah. Malay is straight crazy. You know what I mean? He's batshit crazy as well. And he's part of he's a big part of the retrenchment happening, right wing retrenchment happening there. You know what I mean? So I definitely there's a thing I saw on social. It was saying how, if earlier in the cup when there was still, our teams, and that if you're from Latin America and your particular country, let's say Mexico, loses, you root for another Latin American country, right? And then there was a orientation,
Yeah.
and they tend to see themselves as an extension of Europe, as instead of, not all, of course, instead of like Latin American. You know what I mean? And it's not all people, but that's a very big, and you see a lot of the ugly racism that they shout at these people. So I definitely don't want them to win for that. And I'm rooting for Spain. I'm really kind of surprised at France. I'm surprised, like, they dominated that whole World Cup, and then they kind of they look horrible against Spain, and they look great against England yesterday, but it wasn't enough. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah, Argentina has like big indigenous population, but like many of the indigenous populations across the Americas, they were decimated even worse than I think in other places. But they've got, for one that I know off the top of my head, are the Mapuches, uh,
Mapuche,
and
yeah,
and there are others, and those are very important indigenous populations, but they're not really usually, what can I say? I mean, they haven't been given the exposure that we hear from other places like Peru or Colombia. It's
yeah.
like very, very on the hush. But
You
yeah.
know, it's funny. I don't even really watch ever soccer or football. Right? It's only during the World Cup, and then I'm all in. Like, I just really like it. So here's to Spain. Hopefully they win today. One thing that I thought that was really amazing, is how the city has really gone out of his way to celebrate the World Cup. Mayor
Yes.
Mamdani ensured that there was like $50 tickets available. They made soccer parks open 24 hours. They have free watch parties throughout the city, which is fucking gorgeous. But one of the things that I was really like, I ain't gonna even lie, like few little tears came out my eyes, is when I saw the video of Mayor Mamdani going to Rikers for a watch party at Rikers. You know,
Yes.
and I was
Yes.
like, man, that was such a beautiful, thing to do. You know what I mean? And you could see it in those inmates' eyes. How happy they were, how they were like blown away. Like they're in the inside, but here's the mayor of the city coming the game, watching the game with them. Like, I was like, yo, that he did it with that one. Like, I was like, that's, while Adams was out partying, this man decided to be, with some of the most, really like, you know, rubber meets the road situation, right? Like in Rikers. So I just got to commend the mayor for that. That was amazing.
Yeah, and I also felt, really moved by that, and I was also moved when the mayor went to the high school graduation at Rikers. The mayor a few weeks ago was at Rikers with inmates who graduated from high school in Rikers. And for the mayor to be there and to give these inmates attention is so important. In this country, our carceral system is all about basically uh what's the word? You know, punishment. It's just punishment,
It's
But
punishment and profit. Punishment and profit. The
punishment,
profit
puni-
and profit.
pun-
Yeah.
punishment and profit. But there needs to be more attention given on what happens to inmates when they serve their time, when they come out. What can we do to make sure that they are better people when they come out of prison, or and part of that is education. And so I was really, really glad to see not just that there's inmates that are really trying to turn their lives around with education, but that the mayor was there to give them the encouragement that they need to say, yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, who knows what they did, right? Sometimes bad choices, sometimes bad education, bad situations, but you got your degree from your high school degree, you're graduating from here. And if you're going to be let out of this prison, now you've got some hope, right? Now you've got your degree, and the mayor is there to show them that they matter. And I think that's almost more important for people who are in jail. That's the in our society the lowest of the low, and folks don't feel like they matter into this society, and it's so it's very good. I'm really glad that the mayor has been doing more outreach. I do think that Rikers is got to be shut down. That place, too many people have been dying in Rikers for no reason. It's people are being people who have people are dying because they have health issues and they're not being treated. You know what I mean? People are dying because they're getting beaten to death. That's happened too. And people are dying because by guards. Let's be clear, because guards have attacked people, and people die at the hands of other inmates as well. So it's a horrible place. It's inhuman, and the mayor being there, I think, is such a testament to the effort that needs to be put into improving these places. So I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, and one thing, again, I think it's super important, right? That sometimes people don't realize that, want to just say, "Oh, those people are criminals," right? But the circumstances sometimes, I grew up in the hood, right? Like, there's a lot of times I could have just ended up the wrong way. So sometimes, not to say that you don't commit a crime, you shouldn't, whatever. That's not my argument. But sometimes people discount how hard these young people's lives are and how they don't have, a lot of times, growing up. When I was growing up, you don't have any role models, really. You know what I mean? Your parents were. I love my parents, but they were just hardworking people, right? Like, the role models was the people in the street, the people selling drugs. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he got money, he got new sneakers. So I just want to say sometimes the criminality, it's almost baked into to growing up in the inner city. But I want to go back to the World Cup really quick. One of the things I hated about the World Cup and FIFA is how fucking corrupt it is. It wasn't just the incident with Trump fucking intervening. Who does that? That fucking Barbosa. But also, like, the fact that Egypt got this shit, like, they stole that game and gave it to Argentina. Like, that's one thing I hate about it. It's like we're being forced to let Argentina win. Like, it seems like just how it was with Wemby in the NBA, but like 100 million times worse, you know, with Argentina. It's insane.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, I want to look into a lot of people joining us this morning, so it's really, really cool. Oh, my man Gustavo, where's Lupita? What's up? Noemi does it. Hey, and La Mami Bella has a comment, and she's talking, bring it back to the Rikers thing. It's petty crimes that that sometimes send people to jail. And you're right. You know, our communities are over policed. I'm so glad that weed is legal and that we're not going to be put in jail just for smoking weed on the street anymore. Because that sent so many people to prison for no reason. So yeah, but yeah, what you're talking about FIFA and the corruption. Wow, you know, it's this massive organization, the most popular sport on earth. And yeah, the corruption that happens, I guess, at every level. You know, I don't know firsthand, but I've seen it reported in the Times and in other places that there's massive amount of corruption. I don't know if you there's a movie, it's in Spanish on Netflix called 1984 or 1985. I think it's 1985. And it's all about the story of when Mexico was able to bring the Olympics, I mean, not the Olympics, the World Cup to Mexico City for the second time in less than a decade, which was like unheard of. It's a really good movie. It's called 1985, which also was a year of like tremendous change in Mexico. It's also the year that me and my family came to the United States. My father had to leave Mexican government. We came to the United States. So 1985, I watched it because of all the importance that year has to me in my life, but also to the importance for Mexico. That's also the year that we had the terrible earthquake in Mexico City. So, you know, I do encourage, if you want to look into like sort of like the inside story of how people and FIFA sort of operate. 1985 is a great movie to see.
And you know, you don't even have to go further than that. They gave Trump a fucking peace prize. They gave him the FIFA
Yeah, true,
peace
true,
prize.
true.
Dude. What the fuck is that? Like, you just made some shit up because you know how he likes to be coddled, and they gave him a peace prize. Like, it's so fucking ridiculous.
It is
So
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I'm just gonna make a note here because I have my live on my personal page, which is Octavio Blanco. But and I see some comments there. If you're on Octavio Blanco, uh, come over here to Uptown Voices or to Uptown Collective because it's a little bit difficult for me to monitor the comments in my personal Octavio Blanco page. But if you can, come over here to Uptown Voices or go over to Uptown Collective, which also has the live. I'm just gonna make a note of that in the live. But yeah, I'm glad that you're here on any of these channels.
Yeah, shout out to everyone for joining. You know, with that said, I also want to just give some updates on a few things because there's been so many like cancellations because of the weather and the air quality. So good vibes in the park, which was supposed to happen this weekend at St. Nicholas Park, is happening July 23rd from 4 to 8. So you know it's gonna be DJs, performances, massage station, face painting. It's good for like the entire family. They're gonna have like yoga, movement, meditation. So that's Thursday, July 23rd, 4th to 8. And then the very next day, you got Harlem Summer Nights in West Harlem, right by the arches, right? All the way by the water. You have Harlem Summer Nights. It's I think it's 7 Fridays in a row. This is like it's gonna be the third Friday. So you got right there your whole beginning of your weekend plan. You're welcome.
Thank you, Let. Thank you, Let, for all that.
Yeah.
But this has been a pretty, as they say, pretty crazy week. I think we, you know, for us, it's been kind of exciting, right? Like we like Led said, we are what's how did you say that
Emerging. We're emerging.
we we are an emerging podcast, and I am, so happy that we're getting attention, not just from everybody here in our live and the community, but also from folks, in the media. And this week, Pix11 came over and they interviewed us for a big piece that they're putting together. Actually, it might be two stories, last I heard, but I don't want to get in. I don't know. It's up to them what they want to do. If it's going to be one story or two story about Led and about me, and about our efforts here with Uptown Voices.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be possible without people in the community sort of being a part of this, and Led, it wouldn't be possible without you
Likewise, brother.
being a part of this. Nah, yeah, but I want to give, like, look, man, you know why, Led, you've been at this for a minute. You've been at this for a minute, and it's I feel like it's the natural progression of work to get into this kind of podcasting work, because social media is great. Social media connects us, but when we try to talk about issues and when we try to shine a light on people who are making stuff happen, we need to go a little bit deeper, and that's what we're doing here. I mean, it's been such an amazing, we've only been at it for a year. Can you believe it? It's like, it's not even, it's been
Yeah.
a little bit over a year.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you're right. Like I think this has been such a journey. And social media is great. I'm a social media strategist. I'm involved with social media, every day of my life. You know what I mean, and so many different organizations. But it could only get you but so far. And to do the work of a community, this podcast it's kind of filling a void for a lot of people uptown because you get to connect the dots. It's not just going to an event; it's seeing who put that event together, seeing the things that it takes, seeing what inspired them, and sometimes it's also a lot of work, right? We're on twice a week. Sometimes we're recording more than twice a week. But it's a labor of love, and also it's important because sometimes like you said, sometimes you don't feel like, oh man, I'm so tired. I got this. I got the day job. I got the business. I got all this. Family, all those things. But every time I come away from every episode learning something happier, lighter, because I'm like, man, even people that I've known for a long time, I get I see them in a different light because so much I learned, and I'm like, oh, now that their journey even makes more sense. So it's been great. Like, and Pix11, even that, right? Shout out to Veronica Rosario, who is the producer for the segment. She had reached out to me. We've been in touch before. We were both honorees in the Dominican Day Parade in 2024. And she reached out to me and told me about the idea, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. And she made it happen. We had Walter Paulino, if I'm not mistaken, as a reporter, and Vinny, I don't remember Vinny's last name, was the cameraman. And we filmed in your crib, and we filmed in Dolphin Park. We filmed on the train, and there's a little segment with my people's Happy Monkey. My man Ramon was there, Ramon Reyes, so he was part of the segment. So it was beautiful, man. And to have Happy Monkey to talk about Dominican identity and how it's changing, and how because we talked a little bit about España and Lisa. So I'm really excited about the segment. I think it's going to drop um during the day of the Dominican Day Parade. So the timing is beautiful. And we posted some pictures of behind the scenes earlier this week.
Yeah, so you can check out some of those. And I've been getting lots of, positive feedback from folks, especially with the political coverage that we did for these primaries. And so I feel very proud about that. I've heard from folks who said to me, you know what, it was your interviews that we did that helped me to make a more educated decision as to who I'm going to vote for. And that, yo, when I hear that,
That
it
right
makes it
there.
that makes
Yeah.
me feel like the reason why we're doing this is good. I mean, we how can I say this? We gave everybody their equal shot to make their point and to make their campaign. You know, we were the first to put Oscar Romero on the scene. We were the first to have him on, and we gave him 2 interviews of an hour each. So that was one right there. We were the first to put Daria Lisa on, in the community, and we gave her 2 episodes, 2 interviews of an hour each. And we gave Adriano his shot too. We had 2 episodes with him of an hour each, one of which we did from a studio in Midtown out of our own pocket to make sure that everybody felt comfortable with the production and all that stuff. Same questions. They got to answer how they felt they would answer. And it was up to the audience, you know? And so when I hear people who say, well, I didn't know Daria Lisa very much, but that gave me an opportunity to learn about her and I was able to really hear what she had to say. That makes me proud of the work that I do as a journalist. And it makes me proud of you and the work that you do as a social media um,
I'm a
impact
paradigm
lead,
shifter. I'm a
impact,
paradigm shifter.
a paradigm shifter. I was going to say impact leader, but yeah, if you want to, you are a paradigm shifter because we are helping to at least shed light on the shift in the paradigm that's happening uptown. Right? It's not the same. It's still young. It's still Dominican, but it's the next generation of Dominicans that are taking the reins. And that's important because the second generation of Dominicans are Dominican Americans, right? Who have
Hmm.
grown up here or came here young. And for this generation of people, the status quo isn't enough. Just knowing your name isn't enough for somebody to attract our vote or our
Yeah.
attention. We're demanding more. We're demanding that you work the issues, that you present us with things that are going to improve our lives. Because actually, as this second generation, most or many could be here or could be anywhere in the country, right? Most or many have been educated in college and have, real careers and have decided to come back to this neighborhood because our
Yeah.
families are here and things like that.
And
But
I also think that
yeah,
we were
go
the
ahead.
first. We were also the first to really point out how negative the Espaillat campaign was going. I remember like talking about that guy Roskin Pimentel. How he was part of the campaign and was on leave, and how he was going to the Dominican Republic and sowing all this hatred and distrust, and how he was importing people. Like as it was happening, we were talking about it. Other people caught on social later on, or a little bit, but I was watching it and I saw it. And again, the anti-Haitianism, the anti-blackness, and again, I thought it was a dumb strategy to begin with, because you're trying to influence Dominicans on the island to somehow influence them here, but they don't even really vote here. And it caused a whole bunch of mess. It muddled the waters. It did. I don't think it even helped him. You know what I mean? I think it hurt him. He lost the African American vote, right? Because of this. So it's like is what I think we were we gave people options, but also we stood on business, right? Like for me to endorse Daria Lisa at the time that didn't completely go over well with people. Publicly people were like, privately people told me that's very brave, thank you. But a lot of people were really there was some consternation there, right? Because Espaillat was such a figure uptown. But I said what I believe needed to be said.
And it was brave of you to say that. And that's something that I really appreciate that you did. You are a leader in this community, and you don't mince words, and you say what's on your mind, and you've always done that, and I respect that tremendously.
Thank you.
Just so you know, I'm just cycling through some of the views on on this on this live. So you're going to see the video sort of change as I go through it, only because, you know, we've got this special program that we use, and it switches between the cameras, but for whatever reason it's not switching between the cameras. So all you guys are getting to see is Led's lovely face, and you're not seeing my face very often. So Led, you're getting 100% of the camera screen time
All
now.
right, all right. The camera loves me.
The camera loves you. The camera loves you.
That's funny. Shout out! This is my wife's decor, by the way. If you're wondering, this is my wife's decor behind me. She's the mastermind behind the scenery. I'm not really that recliner right there is the only part of the house is mine right there. Everything else belongs to my wife. No, real talk. Like, you see my TV there, right? I wanted a really huge TV. Like, I wanted a bigger TV than that. But when my wife did, she was mad slick. What she did is she bought 2 bookcases and put them on either side. So it kind of like determined how big my TV was, right? So that was like a master stroke. That's the type of shit she does.
You saw my TV. I got a giant TV. And that's all because of the days when I worked at Consumer Reports. I don't know if anybody knows this or if anybody actually cares, but I worked for Consumer Reports as a reporter there and an editor for about 6 years. And Consumer Reports magazine, you know, they do all the testing of they do TVs, they do cars, they do all these products that they test. And when they're done testing them, the employees can buy them at a discount because they're essentially used. So I got this big, massive TV. I think it's like 52 inches, and but I got it at for a good price. I don't remember the price, but it was a used television. But that was one of the perks, and I had to bring that home from Yonkers, and I don't have a car, so I think it was my father-in-law who drove out there with me, and we like loaded that thing up into the car and brought it back to the apartment and set it up. But yeah, I like your decor with Cougans in the background. You've got the African American flag in the background, and the Dominican flag, of course. And what's that? What's that image of you in the background with the star?
So that basically, that's from Montalicia, who's a dope artist from Harlem. We did like a Uptown Collective Christmas party like back in, I want to say 2012, 2013. And it was at Negro Claro, which is not Negro. There's not Negro Claro. It doesn't exist anymore. It has a different name. But it was a dope spot behind Dykeman Projects, all the way, like on 11th Avenue, 10th Avenue, what do you call that? And she painted it live. So it was like, it's basically like one of the icons that I use for on social, and she painted it live. And then you really can't tell from here, but the first is a Fela. Fela's one of my heroes. And then it's the Biggie first album, Ready to Die, but my wife got it signed back in the days. So it's signed by Biggie. It's signed by Biggie, which is really fucking cool.
That is cool.
The other one is In the Heights, and it's signed by a good part of the cast. Because what's interesting, if you ever look at the Heights poster from the original Heights poster, right? But it's a composite image. So what I'm trying to say is so that's how I show you how Washington Heights I am. I'm so Washington Heights that the original Heights poster was shot on my block. So I grew up 192nd and Wadsworth. So right there, that's the block. In the back, you see the George Washington Bridge. That, of course, is not there, but it's part of, setting the scene for the poster. So, but it's that poster is right there. So like if you're standing on Wadsworth and 192nd and you're looking east, that's where the poster is. There's a bodega there. And right next to the bodega is a Suez Shipping. My dad used to work there until he passed. And that there's an actual really cool video of that day when the Heights was coming out, and Lin-Manuel was in that bodega. He's buying a cafe. He's doing like a little tour of the bodega, which is really cool. So that's the other poster. And then the Coogan's Way was dope because they did an event for Coogan's Way, the movie. And I'm in the movie, so I was able to get a sign, which is really cool.
And props to Eileen, because it looks really, really nice. And I know she's also in charge of the plants there, and your plants are beautiful.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta.
She has a lot
I'm
of
always,
plants.
I'm always blown away by that big elephant plant right behind you. I've got one
Yeah.
too, but it's struggling. Ours doesn't do as well as yours.
No, actually, she just kind of went through some changes with the plants. I'm not really I would say this is an apartment, not a jungle, but because she has a lot of plants. My middle child Layla's the same way. Her bedroom was full of plants. I like plants. I'm not hating on plants, but that's not my. No, I don't. I just talk shit. I don't really do things like that.
Well, you're very good at that. I gotta tell you, you're
Thank
very
you,
good at
thank you. I
that. You're very
tried
good at
a
that. Yeah,
a lifetime of doing it.
you do well. You do well.
Well, then I
Well,
want to also call attention to one thing real
yeah,
quick.
do it.
So Harlem Grown, which is a very important organization, uptown, where they are big on sustainability and growing, and they show kids in the neighborhood how to grow things. So they're hiring. They're looking for after school directors, program coordinators, food and farm activity specialists, sports specialists, group leaders. So you could go to harlemgrown.org/careers to learn more and apply, or you can go to Uptown Collective or West Harlem Development Corporation and get more information. But that's important, right? We always got to share these opportunities, with people, right? Because if you're looking for a job, this might be the place. It's a great organization in your backyard, so that's a good one.
That what you just said in your backyard. That is so cool and so important. And I always wondered about this. My whole career has never been in here in Washington Heights. I've never worked in Washington Heights or Harlem or Inwood. I've always lived here and then I've gone, midtown to work or downtown to work. And so when you mentioned that your dad worked at the Yoshua shipping, that was
Yeah,
Sosua shipping, it made me think like how cool. I mean, I'm not saying like that's a great. I don't know what that job is like, right? So I don't want to
yeah.
say
It
like
was
it's
it was
always like
backbreaking work.
yeah. I'm sure it's not a working at a shipping place. I'm sure it's not easy.
Mhm.
However, working in your community must have
Right.
been interesting and maybe cool. Like so uh, I think for anybody who's looking for work, this kind of local community work is gotta be amazing. I would if I'm this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast because I've always wanted to come back here to this community and work in this community. And so it's not only just to like highlight the community and to make sure that we're getting the correct view and that our narratives are being told in the right way. It's also about being here and working here and making an economy here that is something that we can all share. So I do want to make sure that anybody who's looking for work definitely consider working in your own community. Number one, your commute is going to be easier. You're not going to have to deal with getting on that train necessarily. And number two, you'll meet your neighbors. And so I don't know how much those jobs pay or anything like that, but there's a lot of side benefits from building community that can impact your life positively. And that's also what I'm trying to create here with what we're doing. So I'm hoping that, my hope is that this podcast is not just me and Led, that eventually it's going to grow and we can, have other people working with us and that we can actually pay other people to be here to work with us. I want to shout out to our intern Jason Rodriguez, who lives around the corner from here. He's a college
Yeah.
student at Manhattan. It's actually called Manhattan University in the Bronx. And so we want more of that, So I'm going to put up. I want to see if I have it here. I think I do. Um, I would like to. Yeah, I'm going to put up this QR code. This is where you can make a tax deductible contribution to Uptown Voices. Tax deductible means you can claim it on your taxes. So usually, if we want you to donate as much as as much as you want, as much as you're willing. It could be $1, it could be $50, it could be $100. We want to thank everybody who has already, and it's an amazing thing. So some have been in the $100 range. We got a recent donation that was $200. So for us, that's just like massive. But when we get a donation that's even like $5, it just means so much, because it just means that we're making a difference in your life enough for you to actually come out your wallet and contribute something to the work that we're so appreciative to everybody who's contributed, and we do appreciate any contribution that may be coming in the future. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you to everyone. It'd be great if you give a few dollars, but you could just like the page, subscribe to the channel, tell your people about, comment, just share with someone you think that's interested. I think that always helps. And again, like, it's about kind of creating this virtuous circle, right? Where I do something for you, we do something for each other, and it just we pay it forward, right? And to that end, right? So I want to talk about this Harlem Zine Lab, Xerox transfer workshop that's happening at Children's Art Carnival this Friday, July 25th from 1 to 3, right? And it's a hands-on workshop exploring Xerox transfer techniques as a tool for storytelling, memory, and image making. And our good friend, Deanna Ortiz, who's on this week's episode with Solio. So go to social media, sign up for the Zine Lab if you can make it, and then go to our YouTube channel and watch the really good interview that's out this week, talking about arts and culture and community, which is the foundation of us and so much of what happens uptown.
Yeah, this zine lab sounds really interesting, also because the Children's Art Carnival um, paired up with a local group of youth who's doing what we're doing, which is highlighting people from the community, but they're doing it through the zine and doing it via the zine. And that sounded really, really cool. And I know that they have an exhibit up there. I don't know if that exhibit is still up, but I know that you'll probably be able to take a look at the zines that they've created if you go to the Children's Art Carnival. And also, speaking of the Children's Art Carnival, there's an incredible art exhibit going on right now at the Wallach Gallery at Columbia University at 129th Street in Harlem. And
I felt bad about that afterwards. I was like, man, I feel bad. I
can't. No. You're good. You're good. You're good. In Harlem on 129th Street at the Wallach Gallery. Now, this is a really cool exhibit. It's what Solio, who is an independent curator in Harlem, put together. Now, Solio, like Led said, he was part of our last interview, which is live now on our channel on YouTube. It's also live wherever you watch or listen to your podcast. So that's Apple, Spotify. It's all over the place. But Wallach and Solio did basically an anthology of both artists who have come through the Children's Art Carnival in Harlem and those artists who have been working artists who have worked at the Children's Art Carnival in Harlem. And it is an incredible exhibit that I've seen photos, but I'm going to go check it out very soon. I think it's a larger than life exhibit with some very big pieces and some other not so big pieces. But one of the pieces, or three of the pieces that are in there, are by I'm gonna use my French now, Led.
Yeah.
So three of the pieces that are there, and don't make fun of me just because I'm gonna say it in the correct way. But three of the pieces that are in the exhibit are by Jean-Michel Basquiat. Three Basquiats in this art exhibit. And why?
Pretty cool.
And why? It's because Jean-Michel Basquiat, when he was just getting started, he printed his prints at the Children's Art Carnival, and then took those prints downtown and showed them to like Andy Warhol. But he was an intern at the Children's Art Carnival, and he taught children with disabilities, and he credits that experience of working with children with disabilities and developing his style, his childlike style of his art. So these three pieces that you're going to see are three pieces that he created when he was a kid working at the Children's Art Carnival. And so you'll get to see art from Jean-Michel Basquiat as well as art from Tomomori and a lot of other local artists. But in terms of like the history of art, in terms of like the major artists, like he is a big name. And if you have any interest in modern art, this is what a must see exhibit. And it's all because of the Children's Art Carnival and the way that it is open to artists to not just come through and utilize their spaces, right, as a studio, but also teaming up with teachers, teaching artists, and also teaming up with the youth where they can be interns. So definitely at the Wallach, and that's up through September. So you have some time, but time goes fast. So before you know it, September is here. It's almost August already. So get out there and check it out at the Wallach Art Gallery on 129th Street, all the way west side of Manhattan. Uh,
Yeah, and I think it's pretty amazing that you have an exhibit about about an art organization in the neighborhood, right? Like the Children's Art Carnivals has been around, for a long time. Officially, 74 is its own thing, but prior to that, it comes out of MoMA, so it goes back to like the late 60s. So it's an organization that's been around for a long time, doing great work. And so for those that don't know, it's 62 Hamilton Terrace. But that is, I said it before, that is probably the nicest block uptown. Hamilton Terrace from beginning to end is just beautiful, just brownstones and just beautiful brownstones. So, and that building itself, you have a lot of, besides having exhibits, you also have like artist studios. So Wilhelmina Grant Cooper, who's a great artist, who's been featured all throughout Uptown. She has her studio there, or had a studio. Haven't gone in a year or so. The dark room. There's a dark room up there, which is amazing. They're doing really great work. So there's a lot of what's it called? I think it's called Hamilton Dark Room. I think if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's in the
Yeah,
Children's Art Carnival, and there's going to be exhibits
Hamilton
of.
Heights. So it's Hamilton Heights Dark Room, and it's funny because I took a tour of the Children's Art Carnival, and when you go into the dark room, I never been in a dark room before. You have to kind of go through like this sliding door where the room gets dark, and I thought it was really cool. And I saw the work there. I was really impressed. So show love to the Children's Art Carnival.
And I know how important photography is to you, Led, because I know that you had you've done your own exhibit, the Gram Uptown, where you took
Mhm.
photography from Instagram and make sure that that was viewable. But photography is a really, really great way of capturing a moment in time and a moment in history. And some of that dark room has been around for a long time, so you'll be able to get a really good view of Hamilton Heights and Harlem and Uptown going back going back through the years, and some very, very talented photographers who have gone through that dark room because, New York City space is a premium. So when you have a place, if you have your place, you may not be able to, convert your bathroom into a dark room. You may have to go to a dark room and actually do that. And one thing I like about darkroom and traditional film photography is that it's separate from the digital like world. And what I mean is like every time we do something digitally, there's an entity there that's trying to get the image that we've created and do something of their own with it, right? Like every time we post to Instagram, like Meta just had this big controversy with the images that it puts up, which because of public outcry, it changed. it had said like if you put up an image on any Meta product, they're going to be able to use that on their AI. And then they said, and then after people really really got upset about that, including artists and professional photographers, Meta changed their stance, and that's no longer the case. But what I'm trying to say is that when people create stuff like zines, and when they create stuff like film photographs, that's your own thing. You may not get the distribution necessarily that you benefit from on digital like we do, which we try to utilize for the good. Um, but so it's a very what's the it's a pure way of displaying a moment in time, or it's a pure way, like when you create a painting, it's a pure way of creating art that isn't influenced by any like corporate interests or anything like that. So it's a shame that we're losing some of that, like film photography and tangible paper and pen stuff that is so important. Newspapers, things like that. So anyway.
And I also think with that kind of photography, you don't know what you're getting until you develop.
Yeah.
Which adds a whole nother layer, right? Like, you take a picture of your phone, you instantly know, and you could have so many ways of fixing and cropping and filtering, but this is different. It's on the fly, and you're hoping you get that shot, but you may not, and you have to go through a bunch of stuff, and again, you don't know till you develop. And I think it harkens back to earlier times, and like I think it's a great thing, and also to see the process, right? I went through it where you put it in, you have to go through the chemicals, right? And then you see it kind of taking shape before your eyes. I think that's very special, and I think sometimes we need to go back analog sometimes.
Yeah, man. Well, it's been an hour that we've been on here. I want to thank everybody who has joined us. I wish that everybody have a great weekend. The day the air quality is better today than it has been because of all the rains. I want to send I want to reach out to your neighbors in Queens. Queens got really hit hard by this rain. I know that my sister-in-law, she lives in one of these like basement apartments, and
Man.
and she got flooded. So, she's okay, but a lot of her stuff was ruined. So, reach out to your neighbors. I don't know if anybody uptown was flooded. I know that there are some zones uptown that are a flood zone. So, if you're running into any flooding issues, make sure that you reach out to your elected officials and see if there's any help there that they can give you, and definitely reach out to your neighbors, people who might be living in these flood zones, and make sure that they're okay, because the rain yesterday was serious.
Yeah, I heard Tuesday it might be coming back, so be on the lookout for that. So be prepared. It's always better to be prepared than not be prepared. I also want to say one more thing.
Yeah, man.
Another Mori Soñando's happening on July 25th at the Gramercy Theater. Shout out to my sisters Glorelis and Sasha. Always mad funny. They're doing this show on an even bit. They were at the United Palace. Now they're going to Gramercy downtown. So show them love July 25th.
Yes.
Oh, and one more thing. Go check out Uptown Voices on 155th and Audubon Terrace, right on Broadway, right inside the area where the Hispanic Society is. Check out our brother Tom Sanford. We should actually have him come on a Sunday, Octavio, to talk
Yeah.
about Uptown Voices, man. He's just such a great artist, and he's always a breath of
Wait.
fresh air.
Is that what it's called? Uptown Voices?
No, I'm sorry. It's Uptown Visions. My apologies.
Oh, I was about to
Because
say.
it's built on Visions of Spain by Sorolla, so that's why it's called Uptown Visions. My apologies.
Uptown Visions. Yeah, yes. Go there. It's outside of the Hispanic Society. These are larger than life installation. And then go inside to Sorolla Gallery for another larger than life installation that's there all the time. If you haven't been to the Sorolla Gallery at the Hispanic Society, it is amazing. Like, it's It's amazing, and it's a jewel. It's not just a jewel of Uptown. It's not just a jewel of New York City. It's not just a jewel of the United States. It's a jewel in the world. It is an incredible jewel that we have, the Sorolla Gallery, but also all the other artwork that the Hispanic Society has on exhibit. So definitely,
it's the best collection of Spanish art outside of Spain. That's how good it is.
That's how good
and also,
it is.
One last thing, last one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
So Noma, which is one of my clients, shout out to Noma. They do such important work uptown, the Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance. So every August they do a studio sale. So it's 25% off bookings all the entire month of August. Right. So it's for all Noma members and non-commercial use. So if you're a Pepsi, yes, you can use the studio, but you're not getting 25% off, right? You know what I mean? But if you're a Noma member and for non-commercial use, you get 25% of your bookings for the whole month. If you're interested, contact studios at nomanyc.org. And again, people use their studios for photography. They have a photography studio specifically built for photography. So they have all the lighting, everything you need. You just bring your camera. But they also have studios for dance, for practicing, for rehearsals. Like they have I think 5 studios altogether on the second floor. You're within the United Palace, so you have the United Palace energy and a mystique. So it's a really important, and you're getting it for 25% off. So maybe that idea that you're working on, you need to go express it there. It's super cheap, and sometimes it's good to get out your own crib and go somewhere else to work. So Noma Studios is doing 25% bookings for all of August. Check them out.
And you guys, I want to say 2 things before we go. One is, if you have some organization or some person that you feel should be highlighted on Uptown Voices, hit us up in our DMs. Let us know, and we'll reach out and talk to them and bring them on. We want to make sure that folks that you believe in are part of this. We're always looking for people to interview who are doing incredible things in the community. And also stay tuned this Tuesday. Our next episode is with the artist Tomomori, Japanese artist living in Harlem. She has her family in Harlem, does incredible work both in painting and in sculpture. She's going to be on our upcoming episode on Tuesday. That drops on Tuesday, Monday into Tuesday morning at midnight. So if you're a night owl burning the midnight oil and you want to watch something at midnight, you can see Tomomori discuss her work and her life in Harlem. And I thought it was an interesting interview that we did with her, talking a lot about interesting issues here in Uptown for artists and also for people who are moving to Uptown. So check that out.
Octavio, my brother, it has been great as always. To the audience, please subscribe to the channel. Show us that love. Donate if you can. Spread love is the Uptown way. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Led. And to everybody, enjoy this weekend. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to our podcast. We're proud that Uptown Voices is now a fiscally sponsored project of the Maisels Documentary Center. This means we're able to accept tax-deductible contributions to support our production. You'll see a QR code on the screen right now. Scanning that is the easiest way to invest in local media and help us keep telling these inspiring Uptown stories. We appreciate your support more than we can say. Thanks for listening to Uptown Voices.